Good morning, guys. I am so happy that you're here this morning. Today, we will be talking about what it means to be made in God's image and to show His love to everyone around us.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verses 26 through 28.
In the beginning, God took nothing and made everything. From darkness, God called out light.
God poured out waters and stretched the sky far overhead like an unpainted canvas. He shaped dry land and canyons and great mountain ranges, and then decked them out with trees and vines and plants of every kind. God spun the moon and sun and stars and planets out into space, and then He filled the oceans with fish and the sky with birds. God thought up an amazing variety of animals to crawl and hop and race over the earth.
All of this was incredible, unbelievable, the most artistic show of power ever. God made complex atoms and cells smaller than the eye can see, all the way up to vast spaces stretching across the universe farther than we can imagine. And yet, all of this was just a warm-up to God's most spectacular creation: people. People. It's true. We're made of the same atoms and cells and elements as rocks and plants and animals. But unlike anything else in God's creation, we are made in God's image. Then God said,
"Let us make human beings so that they are like us. Let them rule over the fish in the seas and the birds in the sky. Let them rule over the livestock and all the wild animals. And let them rule over all the creatures that move along the ground."
So God created human beings in His own likeness. He created them to be like Himself. He created them as male and female. You are made in God's image. Now, that does not mean God shares your eye color, or your freckles, or even your quirky smile. But it does mean that you were designed for God to shine through you. You were made to show the world God's love, God's grace and mercy, God's joy, God's peace, God's kindness, God's wisdom. You and every person you'll ever meet are of infinite value because you're made in the image of God. And here's what's even more amazing. God didn't design us to turn into a bunch of little robots who look and act the same when we follow Him. Instead, the more time you spend with God, asking Him to transform your thoughts and words and choices, the more you become uniquely you. As you follow Jesus and reflect God's light more clearly, you'll be able to do the things that God has designed for you and no one else. So, next time you look in the mirror, remember, you're looking at the image of God, and no one in this world can reflect Him just the way you do.
Smile and I can see that God, your love for that's how it was meant to be. Don't be a faker, you're an earth shaker. Don't ever listen to the words of the haters. Born to be a difference maker. Come on, start now, not later. Individuality, discover who you're meant to be. The only you that you can be, cause you're the MVP. 7.442 billion people in the world, but you're one in a million. They ain't never seen, no, nothing like you. No, nothing like you. A diamond in the rough, yeah, you're shining like a star, yeah. Lighting up the world, just being who you are. Cause they ain't never seen, no, nothing like you. No, nothing like you, hey. Don't be afraid to shine. Cause you're a one of a kind. There's 7.442 billion people in the world, but you're one in a million. They ain't never seen, no, nothing like you. No, nothing like you. A diamond in the rough, yeah, you're shining like a star, yeah. Lighting up the world, just being who you are. Cause they ain't never seen, no, nothing like you. No, nothing like you, hey. Mirror, mirror on the wall, I wanna make a splash like a cannonball. Yeah, mirror, mirror on the wall, I'll make a splash like a cannonball, hey.
How cool is it that we are all made in God's image? Being made in God's image means we get to show others what God's love is like. Sometimes it's hard to show love to people around us. Sometimes it's hard to love our brothers, our sisters, or even our friends. But remember, God loves us so much. We are made in His image, so we need to try our best to love each other and be an example of what God's love is like. Speaking of love, I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a great week. See you next time.